World headlines. No opinions, only facts. April 6, Jean-Marie Hanna, a British national, was arrested in Singapore and charged with 5 counts of fraud involving 3 victims after a Netflix documentary revealed her alleged scams. Professor David Liu of MIT and Harvard won a $3 million breakthrough prize for developing base and prime editing gene editing tools, first used to save a British teenager with leukemia. A Jordanian man was charged in Australia after allegedly attempting to open a plane's emergency exit door during a flight from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, to Sydney. The price of Bitcoin is $82,836. Max Verstappen won the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka Circuit, securing his first win of the year for Red Bull Honda ahead of McLaren's Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri in second and third place. Iran rejected direct nuclear negotiations with the U.S., preferring indirect talks through Oman, while warning regional U.S. allied countries of potential repercussions. Hong Kong plans to standardize stock trading unit sizes, prompting the Hong Kong Exchanges and Clearing and the Securities and Futures Commission to upgrade their systems and encourage participation from smaller investors. Taiwan's Financial Supervisory Commission implemented temporary short-selling curbs on the Taiwan stock market to mitigate potential market turmoil. In Japan, calls for consumption tax cut are increasing due to concerns about the impact of U.S. tariffs. Vietnam's growth slowed to 6.93% in the first quarter of 2024, ahead of a 46% tariff on Vietnamese exports to the United States. Indonesia's senior economic minister announced that Indonesia will not retaliate against U.S. President Donald Trump's 32% tariff on Indonesian goods. Opting instead for diplomatic negotiations and exploring alternative trade partners, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio revoked all visas for South Sudanese citizens and blocked new entries due to South Sudan's failure to repatriate its citizens expelled from the U.S. In Florida, a transgender college student was arrested for intentionally using a women's restroom to defy a new state law. This arrest is the first of its kind, according to the ACLU. The Trump administration transferred the federal student loan program to the Small Business Administration. South Korea's National Assembly Speaker Woo Won-sik proposed a constitutional revision to limit presidential powers following President Yoon Suk-yeol's impeachment for declaring martial law. The UK government banned sneaky fees and fake online reviews, impacting businesses across the UK and potentially affecting consumers in other countries who use UK-based online services. Tens of thousands of Spaniards, organized by tenants' rights and left-leaning groups, protested high housing costs in 40 Spanish cities, including Madrid and Barcelona, due to real estate speculation, foreign property ownership, and tourism. Denmark implemented mandatory military conscription for women, starting in 2026, due to insufficient volunteer numbers. Pope Francis appeared in St. Peter's Square after a 5-week hospital stay for a lung infection that caused double pneumonia, requiring treatment including supplemental oxygen. The Democratic Republic of Congo and the M23 rebels held peace talks, resulting in Qatar. Skyrocketing global demand for matcha, driven by social media and tourism, is causing shortages in Japan. This increased demand, primarily from Europe, the US, and Australia, is outpacing production despite increased Japanese matcha production. Honda and Red Bull's Formula One partnership is ending after a successful run after multiple championships. US nurse influencer Haley Okula died in California after giving birth due to a rare amniotic fluid embolism, a complication occurring during or after childbirth after struggling with infertility. The price of Bitcoin is $83,495. The U.S. Department of Government Efficiency plans a hackathon in the U.S. to create a mega API for taxpayer data access, raising concerns about data security. Hands-off anti-Trump protests occurred across the U.S., led by left-leaning organizations and individuals in response to Trump's policies and actions. President Trump will meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House, focusing on Israel's military operations in Gaza and new U.S. tariffs. Carmelo Anthony and Dwight Howard, along with other notable individuals and the 2008 U.S. Olympic men's team, were included into the Basketball Hall of Fame class of 2025. Elon Musk may soon leave his position in the Trump administration in the U.S. after months of significant influence. His departure, however, is unlikely to sever his close ties with President Trump. A University of Edinburgh study found that dietary changes, specifically eliminating gluten, dairy, coffee, and alcohol, reduced endometriosis pain for a significant portion of its female participants. U.S. Senator Ted Cruz warned of potential economic consequences in the U.S. resulting from Donald Trump's tariffs, specifically predicting a, quote, bloodbath for Republicans in the 2026 midterm elections. The promotion of vitamin as a measles treatment in the U.S., specifically in Texas, led to children experiencing vitamin toxicity. Russian ballistic missiles striking Kryvyi Rih, Ukraine, killed 18 people, including 9 children. BP chair Helge Lund will resign in 2026 following shareholder pressure in the UK and US, primarily from Elliott, a New York hedge fund, over BP's revised net zero agenda. Jaguar Land Rover, a UK-based car manufacturer, paused US shipments to assess the impact of tariffs on imported cars and light trucks. China arrested 3 Filipino citizens on espionage charges, allegedly in retaliation for the actions against suspected Chinese spies in the Philippines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Sri Lankan President Anura Kumara Dissanayake in Sri Lanka solidified a defense agreement to counter China's growing influence. India launched the Indian Ocean Ship Sagar initiative, involving its navy and personnel from 9 other Indian Ocean region countries to promote maritime security and cooperation. Windsurf released a new AI tool that streamlines application deployment, competing with Replit and Cursor. Meta released 4 new AI models, Llama 4, which includes open-source models and an updated Meta AI assistant in 40 countries. In Brazil, President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva's approval rating plummeted to 24%, primarily due to rising food prices and increased crime. Like and subscribe, and check out the channel for more critical information posted twice daily.